You.
Hello one and all, and welcome back to the Hippo Cup 9. Here we are with our second match of the tournament. It's going to be Arthur ixfire versus .org is khhv. This is going to be, I believe, in our Group C. Just going to take a quick moment to double check that. Yep. Arthur ixfire, the highest ranked team in this group, going against the third lowest in the group. Going to be interesting. I'm unsure whose first pick this is, but this is traditionally the storyboard map of the pool. So to us, it looks a little bit archaic, but I pinky promise they're playing a storyboard right now.
Yeah, this map does not look nearly as cursed for them, which is very nice to know on their end. And yeah, unfortunate miss coming right at the end of that pattern for Kosen, but you know, the damage is done on their side already. They already had an early miss coming in from bad aim. So, you know, it's we're going to be moving over to the side of Artur early in with almost just over 1 million score difference at this point of the halfway point.
Yeah, right now, it's a pretty hefty advantage for the Arthur ixfire team, making good use of that added practice put into the pool. This is, I believe, the all-Russian team. Just going to have a quick look at the roster, double check. Yeah, mostly, nope, all Russian side for them. Surprised not to see khhv for this pick. That's traditionally the reading player for that team, but if not necessary, it isn't. And it's actually that triple break now for .org. By comparison, all 4 FCs being held on by Artur, so looking to pull up a very solid score lead in the first pick of this matchup.
Oh, but a load of misses do come out at once, and all 4 FCs do end up actually just now breaking in this last quarter. But there are no combos to be answered for on the side of Org, so those misses aren't actually all that fatal on the side of Arthur, and they are actually going to be, you know, pretty much chilling in solidifying and guaranteeing their point on this map at this point now. As, there are no major combos, and the score difference is 4 million, which, if you want to close that over, you're still going to need a decent bit of combo, which, you know, isn't there for the side of Org. But yeah, these patterns, they look so evil, but again, I promise you they're a tad bit more reasonable if you were to look at this map with the storyboard. But even then, it's still not exactly like it's the easiest thing in the world, as you can tell from the fact that pretty much every player broke on the same section of this map. But it is closing. The song is coming to an end. And that score difference is in favor of Arthur by about that 4 million.
Yep, just the ending spinners now to come through, and that 4-way FC held up just long enough. About a 3.2 million average between the players on that side. Ico did the best they can as long as they held, but unfortunately that single break was going to throw a wrench in those plans, and it's going to be a first pick and point for Arthur ixfire. Actually, that was a breakpoint. Wait just a minute. That was the .org pick. So Arthur finding a breakpoint early. Unfortunately, practice diff not to come through, as they are likely to look into picking some of the more difficult maps in this pool. Something like the Nomad 3, Nomad 4 tandem. Would not be too surprised to see.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's such an early breakpoint. Already just such a different match compared to the one we just had a few minutes ago. I mean, you can already see the variety in the players and the match that, you know, this tournament is going to be bringing out, even in the group stage. So it's going to be interesting to see how this match definitely proceeds, with it being Arthur's pick now, especially with them already having that point lead. Yeah, they do have so many maps open to them. They have pretty much every map open to them at this point, except for obviously the 4 bans plus that No Mod 6.
Yeah, World is there. Oyster, of course, being the favorite by a pretty large margin. It's going to be Hard Rock 1 coming through. Going to be seeing our slight precision Hard Rock, kind of old style farmish map. I know this map more as a DT farm pick, so this style of aim pretty comfortable by comparison to the other aim maps in this pool.
Yeah, quite a different style of map. Yellow Trick, I mean, it's a map that I think is relatively decently known, right? I think most players know this map. At least know of, sorry, and quite a few players have still played it. It's still on the shorter end, under 2 minutes, but only by a small bit. And a CS at 5.6, so if you're comfortable on Hard Rock, you're going to be comfortable on this map overall, but again, just because you're comfortable on Hard Rock, comfortable on the map, doesn't mean it's going to translate to immediate tournament performance, so it's going to be that I'm going to be keeping an eye out for, especially myself. I mean, yeah, again, we're going to see quite a few misses, I feel like, coming out on this, because, again, even with it being in a more simple star rating that these players are definitely more comfortable on, again, that tournament setting does bring out, honestly, you might as well add a star rating to every map once they're in tournament, I feel.
Yeah, just because of that added nerve difficulty, we're looking at khhv hop in the lobby for this one. It's going to be a standout mechanics player for the artur ixfire team, alongside Antonar, but on the other side, you're going to be seeing the same roster, same 4-man roster for .org. Ico, Bad Aim Boy, Causin, and Voxa to come through. I'm actually going to look at what their old name was because that's a part of a recent collab that I refuse to oblige with.
Yeah, understandable. That's the one thing with tournaments confuse me is when everyone makes the names all the same. It's like, who is who, man? Let me know. I can't memorize all of them.
I do believe this team was a free agent last-minute formation. Shadio, one of the only African players in this tournament, player from Egypt, part of that .org side, but Voxa, we can refer to as Neither Die, right? That is Neither Die. So Neither Die is going to be one of the anchors for this .org team. Very comfortable mechanics player and well-tenured tournament player in their own right. As we get into this Hard Rock 1, you're looking for any Hard Rock comfort issues, and it's going to be Shadio actually incredibly early on that offset bar in our first few bursts. Of course, this map is pretty low BPM, around that 160, 170 range. Is going to be a little tricky to get acclimated with, especially on Hard Rock.
Yeah, there's going to be that bit more tapping comfort on 175 that you're going to be a lot more focused on, and you're seeing that comfort coming from RO immediately. All 4 SSs on the board compared to no SSs to be matched on the side of .org. But again, there's still over half the map remaining. There's still so many points you can, choke on accuracy, choke on a burst. And, these bursts are kind of easy to do so with how, awkward they can be with Hard Rock. A bit, not necessarily spaced, but a bit further in the spacing than you would usually expect on, a standard bit of flowing bursts. But then you get into these larger jumps and they can be super easy to find those misses on because you have to keep precision, you have to keep your large aim spacing comfortable. And thankfully there's 175 BPM, so it's nothing too stressful for these players, and there is still an SS on the side of Arthur coming in from khhv.
Yeah, khhv looking so confident. Everyone else as well, 99.4, 99.6, 99.8. They're just playing with even numbers over there. And it's actually not the die to find the first break on that hidden Hard Rock on the side of .org. Will be enough for them to run away with it at this point, pending any double breaks. You are seeing a little bit of shake on that cursor of VL Joy is a little bit worrisome as we make it throughout. Of course, that break in the map, he was able to see that everyone was holding onto their FC at the time. So that's going to add to some of the pressure being built up. It's Cry mentally going to drop that FC, but it's not enough time. VL Joy, it's Faxo. Wait just a minute. Neither Die is the only one that broke. It's 3 FCs to 2 in our final moments. 2 million score lead to accrue. Is there enough time? It's going so quickly. Will the accuracy be enough? No, it's a 800k difference by the tail end, and artur ixfire to consolidate that early break point.
Yeah, genuinely down to the wire. If Crymental's miss was just even a few notes earlier, or same as Joy's notes being a few earlier, that could have generally just gone another way, but thankfully their misses were timed pretty much perfectly for them to keep that lead. Again, even if it was a 5-second difference, if we had 5 seconds more to the map or 5 seconds earlier on those misses, it would have been pretty much over for that point there, but again, they do consider. I can't say that word. I can't figure out that. My brain doesn't understand it. But they do bring that point back over for their side. They do win on their own point after, taking that break point. And it is back to Org to try and, answer back with the 2 points they've lost already.
Yeah, .org looking to find some level of comeback here after that early break point. Again, first to 5, very tricky situation for this SR. Just looking for your most confident maps. It's going to be a DT4 pick going into the higher AR double time, a little bit of a gamble map with regards to BPM and styling. This map has some 260 BPM finger control and aim control. The map starts off immediately with just like some square jump scares. So honestly, the rest of the map is a little bit easier to FC by comparison. It may just come down to that opening pattern, of course, these players, if they manage to pull it through.
Yeah, I mean, having a map where it comes down to the intro is always a bit scary, because you can almost have the reverse sense of nerves, where you can be super, maybe shaky on the intro, where it can be most important. But if you're not too focused on it, then you shouldn't really have a major issue. But again, the hardest part of the map, being the intros, is always something sketchy, because the map could literally end in 3 seconds when it's, not even a minute long. It's about 50 seconds long, this map, so it's on the shorter end where those misses are going to be brutal, because that combo scaling is going to, in proportion to the rest of the map, isn't necessarily as bad as it would be for a 2K combo, but it's still bad enough for it to be pretty much over from the first moments.
Yeah, this is going to be one that is incredibly dicey, and I feel like .org, with this being a team that is sort of like last minute formation, a little bit of like playing for fun almost, they're looking for these gamble picks. They're looking to find the edge on some of these coin flips and trickier map sets that they will, I don't know, it's like just practice diff, honestly, right? Like, they picked that Nomad 6 first with the storyboard map. Unfortunately, didn't go their way. This is another one where if you just keep on playing this map, that early pattern will become consistent for you at some point. But it's Mechanics players in the lobby, Dahuchka, Endora, and VL Joy, as well as Temkana to fill in that final slot for Artur ixfire.
Yeah, I mean, just bringing Endora to a bit more of a Mechanics map, I mean, it just makes sense, right? Endora being quite strong on these maps, and I feel like that's understatement of the centre, if I'm being honest. Yeah, it's going to be a bit spooky on the side of Orga. Just, look at those players who are going to be comfortable on this map and go, we'll win this point. They're clearly confident to do so because they have picked into it, and they are, they're bringing a roster that are going to be able to play the map, but it is just going to be trying to match the players on Art and Out at this point, or even just surpass them. Whether it's by accuracy or by combo because of the intro, time will only tell.
Oh, you immediately see it.
Yeah,
there's the squares
immediately. And yeah, Aiko immediately finding those early misses, and it's understandable because of how awkward that section is just to begin with. But now it is going to be on the side of R just to hold that combo for the rest of this map.
Yeah, rest of the map pales by comparison with regards to difficulty. Very consistent, just 260 ppm snap aim. You're looking for a accuracy comfort at this point. It's the 99.5, but the break from Temkana at the halfway point is disastrous, as you see that 260 burst come through immediately after. Very, very short map, and the speed winding up to be no problem for this core roster on .org as they take the score lead for the first time in this matchup. That Temkana break may have just been enough for them to secure their first point at that halfway mark, and to close it through with a 500k lead. Second break for good measure on Temkana, and .org first pick for them on the board.
Yeah, that miss was just so unfortunate. I mean, it was looking like it was going to be solidly in their favor, and then just to find that unlucky break 200 combo in, I mean, it is unlucky, but sometimes it's just going to happen. You hit the hard part of the map, and then the easy part crumbles before you. And it is what gives Org their first point, which gets them on the board. It's something they're going to be happy with. But Arthur do get to have that chance to fire back with their own pick. Maybe to try and, just stop the momentum before it completely builds up. Or just to, keep the same lead they were sitting comfortably at before.
Yeah, .org. First point on the board. I'm curious to see where they go with regards to picks for Artur. If I'm them. I think I'm just going for still going for these more volatile picks. Looking for the free mod 2, looking for the no mod 3. Just the aimier maps in this pool. That Hard Rock one was a bit closer than you would expect, but .org is a very confident mechanics team. So with that map being a little bit more standard, that was slightly closer than I'm sure they would like. I'm sure they would probably prefer to go into some of the more awkward maps in this pool going forward.
Yeah, I mean, if the Orc can bring it home on one of those Orc maps, they probably do want to keep going into it, but it seems Arthur going to answer back quite quickly with that. No mod 3. Going back to a Knight Theatre Etude. Good old bit of flow aim. Oh, very, very easy to find breaks. I'm very, very awkward. 2 minutes long, so a small bit of consistency, but nothing too major just yet. And yeah, I mean, this is a map that I already said in the last match. I'm a bit biased towards. I always love my flow aim, and this map does encapsulate it perfectly.
I gotta say, I'm proud how on point I have been with predicting these picks.
Yeah, genuinely on point every time. It's actually kind of scary.
I love strategy. But yeah, no mod 3. This is going to be your stop and go flow aim comfort pick. Air 9.4. Usually on paper would not be super dense, but the patterning in this map, you're looking at those doubles, you're looking at the general excel into sudden stop stack into decel. It's really scary stuff what this map throws at you. And with .org running pretty much the same roster on every pick so far, you're looking for a little bit of just roster depth from the Artur ixfire team, or even without that depth. I mean, they're also running the same 4-man, but they have skill cap on their side, and I feel like that's going to be a pretty big difference maker for a map like this.
Yeah, I mean, with how difficult this line can be, that skill cap's definitely going to be a decent bit important. Even again, with as I feel like I sound like a broken record at this point mentioning star ranks, but these maps, honestly, after now having seen a lot of them being played rather than just seeing them normally, it's so different of the map you kind of see. Like, you look at a map and you're like, okay, this shouldn't be too bad for players, and you get to the map and then you realize where the difficulty really starts to shine in, and this map kind of encapsulates on that when it comes to the flow aim, and with it being on the lower BPM side, so you do need that finger control to mix with it, and the forced hiddens on top of that. It just all amalgamates together just to be super, super difficult to hold combo on, and it's definitely interesting to see where the longer combos come in from these players.
Yeah, with regards to longer combo comfort, we're going to give Bancho a moment to catch up. I'm unsure which breaks are real at the moment, but it does look like... Okay, there we go. I wasn't sure if that Antonor chain miss was real, but that break from Costin and Bad Aim Boy is definitely going to be real. Just not doing too hot on the hidden flow aim here for Costin. And again, this SR, normally you would expect a certain level of comfort. The barrier to entry for this tournament was 1.2k. And still, these 6-star maps are giving everyone trouble. khhv, highest ranked player in the lobby, also to find that break. Bad Aim Boy to trade it out. It is the double FC being held on to make it a 1 versus 2 crowd mentality, doing their best to be the anchor, but it's Aiko and Neither Die putting in work once again for these rosters as we make it to this incredibly tricky ending section. A big chain miss for Aiko. It's a 1v1 now at this point. With the recovery combos, khhv has a slight advantage. If Cry Mentality were to break, this is going to be the breakpoint trade back that .org needs.
Yeah, but I mean, this map goes on. It definitely gets easier and easier to find those misses, but Cry Mentality just seems to be holding on, but so does Neither Die. They're just matching each other, but the accuracy of 99.57 in favor of Cry Mentality is doing a lot of work, especially when mixed in with that recovery from khhv, where they have 99 as well, with such a solid recovery combo. Even with Veiljoy's misses later in, they're just being matched by Cosin, so, that score lead is going to be sitting in favor of Arthur by almost 1 million, or maybe a bit more. And it just seems to be going back and forth. The 1k combo marks crossed. Cry Mentality and Neither Die both finding full combos, which are such stupidly strong scores, but it is that recovery combo coming in from khhv to bring that point back for them, and same as Antonar as well.
Yeah, really solid all-around scores for most of these players. Unfortunately, it just felt like a little bit of fourth man syndrome with regards to Cossin just not having as much confidence on the pick, unfortunately, for .org. And with score v1, all it takes is one, really. I mean, otherwise, the average for these teams is pretty even. It's just a little bit of an outlier there, unfortunately, in Artur Ixfire with that pick is going to be one step closer to closing this out. Again, that early breakpoint consolidation can be so big for this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, that early breakpoint just doing so much for Team Arta. I mean, 3-1 already, 4 maps in. Org do get a chance to fire back. They do get a chance, and they did show on their last pick, they did fire back quite strong. But again, it's going to those back-to-backs, and they do need to find that breakpoint literally next map if they want a chance to equalize this. So their pick has to be on top of their game, and then they have to be on top of the game both for their pick and the next pick. So it's going to be a bit more on the stressful side for them. They are sitting on the back foot when playing this match now, and they are just looking to try and, you know, step forward to find the aggression, and they do pick into the 3-3 for it. Going into Yoto Gibanashi, no, it can be Kurushi. I'm 90% sure I butchered that, but it's fine. It is the 240 BPM burst heavy map with a lot of that snap aim. And after definitely mechanics players will know. And yeah, this is one of those maps where with the roster that Arta have, I think they could definitely be a bit stronger on those mechanics, but you know, maybe Org just have something up their sleeve ready for this map.
Yeah, this is going to be a curious one. I just clocked in a little bit of research. Both of these teams are missing 4 of their players at the current moment.
Yeah.
So a little bit curious with regards to that roster depth again, as previously mentioned. The more tenured tournament players seem to be on the side of the Artur Ixfire team, which is part of the reason why they are looking so confident on these more multi-skill set maps. They just have that extra roster of experience. But Fremont 3, this is going to be our 240 BPM main mechanics map of the pool, Yotogi Banashi, as well as it being a free mod map, so you won't have to deal with any potential discomfort on hidden only players for this one. One of the players .org is missing, Shikasora, is one of the players you would usually be seeing as an anchor for that team on those kinds of maps, so it makes a little bit of sense why the roster not as strong for maps like that in Mod 3.
Yeah, I mean, things can definitely change up for this Mod 3. Yeah, but you look at a player like Vera, who is, you know, quite, that's the understatement of the year, who is very, very strong on a lot of these mechanics focused maps, and does have aim to back up, so I'm definitely looking at Endura's score here a lot, especially if they do bring in the hard rock. But then I do want to know who can match that score, because, you know, they definitely have players who have that ability, and it's just going to be up to that, but it is going to be Endura running the no mod, same with Neither Die. But we are seeing 3 hard rocks on the side of .org and then 2 hard rocks on the side of Arta. Neither team opting for the hidden, which is something I wasn't actually expecting. Oh. Aiko does not seem to be in.
Oh. He may be... Oh yeah, it was just an abort. The tablet disconnected. Good thing it happened at the beginning of the map.
Yeah. That is savable. The map had just started. Tablet no connection is always a bit unfortunate, especially with a faulty wire. I know that feeling, bro. I had that for so long. But yeah, I mean, they did get it in time. Thankfully, it wasn't later in. Otherwise, that would have been disastrous, to say the least.
Yeah, Aiko getting that early reset, luckily. Shake off those nerves a little bit going into this pick. Every pick for them at this point is a must-win situation. If they find that extra breakpoint, Artur Ixfire has such a wide depth of maps to play into by comparison. So, this one, a triple hard rock to come through. I don't think that's an approach rate comfort thing. I think that's we are mostly a mechanics roster and we need to find an edge wherever we can thing.
Yeah.
In which case, I'm a little surprised that they aren't running even Hidden Hard Rock, because there isn't really much of a difference. You're just getting some free added score on those FCs, assuming they were to come through. But of course, mechanics rosters for each of these teams incredibly scary. You just got to focus on your own performance. As we see, of course, the early map score flicker as players start to find their early 100s and the likes. It's looking like a more consolidated accuracy advantage over to .org now with regards to the average at this point, as well as the mod multiplier. Of course, that extra hard rock putting in some work with this extra 50k or so.
Yeah, that extra hard rock giving them definitely a good, strong early lead, but it is such a gamble, especially against the halfway point of the map, where this map can definitely catch you out with a lot more of those difficult pans. And, you know, the bursts being 240 with, you know, OD10 can get a bit more stressful on that tapping, but again, these players are going to be relatively comfortable with it, so they shouldn't have too many problems with this map. And you're definitely seeing it with, you know, the fact that it's pretty much an 8-way FC at this point. And as I say it, Criminality does find the break!
Yeah, it looked like just a slight under tap on the burst pattern there. Unfortunately for him, is going to be a massive advantage for .org, looking to get their second point on the board in this matchup. And again, this is the beauty of Hippo Cup group stage. Any matchup could be close, even with missing players falling left and right at a 4-way FC. 3 hard rocks on the board being held on by .org at the current moment. 3 FCs on the other side is just not going to be enough to catch up at this point, with Crimentality's score being sliced in half via the Score v1 gods. And a final spinner is more of a victory prize than anything else as .org get their second point on the board.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying that I was, you know, maybe starting to think this map was a bit more art-favored, but, you know, they do actually bring it back for themselves, or actually bringing in that 4-way full combo compared to 3. And, yeah, just such strong accuracy across the entire board. I mean, 99.6 from Bad Aim Boy, 99.5 from Shadio, 99 from, you know, Neither Die, which I think out of the FCs isn't even actually the lowest, because you still have, you know, the 98.35. But yes, there was just such strong scores across the board from everyone, and especially those hard rock players.
And again, this felt more like a given because of that extra mod. Even if Crime Mentality held on to that final FC, it wouldn't have mattered. There would have been enough extra score on .org because of the extra mod, which, I mean, a very strong strategy, and probably their strongest map remaining is going to be that one. But DT5, a very surprising pick from Artur ixfire as they go into this less than 1 minute pure finger control ACK gamble. I would be incredibly shocked to see a miss on this map given it's sub 5 stars, but it's AR7 double time. It's incredibly dense and incredibly tricky to ACK. I'm very curious to see the kinds of scores players are getting on this one, because my team, we've been practicing it and it's been very curious so far. So I'm very curious to see how other teams are doing on it.
Yeah, this map feels like it could be very hit or miss with them. Like, not only the misses side of things, but just getting that actually correct, you know, making sure your team are super comfortable on it. And it is going to be interesting to see which way this goes. I mean, with it being Artur's pick, again, in my head, I'd naturally sit there and think, okay, they're going to have the lead on this thing, be comfortable on this, that's why they're picking this. But, you know, sometimes you just want to throw a map out there just to test the waters, especially this early in, where, I mean, it's 3-2. They could technically get rid of a point if they really wanted to, but I think the main thing they'd want to be looking for is just to see what they can test the waters with in the next matches they have to play in the group stage.
Yeah, and for this match in particular, again, with so many missing players and with so much tournament experience on the side of Artur ixfire, you are looking for complexity. You're looking for stuff that's going to throw .org off their game, that's not so straightforward. They saw how close that Hard Rock 1 was, and immediately they go, okay, we'll go for the incredibly awkward flow Noma 3. We'll go for the super tricky, like, 2008 map finger control in this one. So they're just going for the complexity picks and hoping to throw .org off their rhythm, as both of these teams are pretty much sold and forced to run their 4-man rosters. And all 8 players in the lobby once more go to bat. .org need a breakpoint to tie this up.
yeah, generally just going to be hunting for that breakpoint, just doing everything in their power to fight for it. But, you know, it's going to be a save for Arthur. They're going to be fighting for keeping that point in their favor, to try and extend that lead, to bring it to match point, which is going to be such a comfortable position for them if they manage to do so. And with this map being so short, it literally will be over by the time you blink your eyes. So, you know, might want to keep focused to this one, especially on the player side of things, as this map could generally flip either way if, you know, one unfortunate break comes in unexpected from these players.
Yeah, this one you're just looking straight for the accuracy comfort. It's immediately a number of 100s dropped for Ico and Bad Aim Boy on that top row. A 13k difference with... I believe the max combo on this one is under 300, so 13k actually going to play a pretty pivotal role, especially with that miss from Bad Aim Boy. It may just seal the deal. I'd be shocked to see any misses come through on the side of Artur ixfire, given the low spacing of this map. But a very strong pick on paper and in perseverance for Artur ixfire, as we just have a final few moments to go.
Yeah, and a few more misses coming out from Bad Aim Boy does, I think, solidify this map as it being completely over, with about 600k score difference. The map over, genuinely over before the blink of an eye, and 256 combo in this map. 7 FCs, unfortunate few misses coming in from Bad Aim Boy to, you know, choke the point pretty much. But the accuracies as well, I think, on the side of Arthur, it was a lot of that heavy lifting. So even with the full combo on the board, I don't think it'd have mattered too much. And now .org are genuinely with their backs against the wall. It is their pick. They have an opportunity. But if they want to bring this map to tiebreaker, they have to win this point and then win the break point, which is easier said than done by every mean.
Yeah, and don't let those accuracies fool you. That is incredibly strong scores from Artur ixfire. This map, it feels like the rhythm is somewhat nonsensical, almost like some of the quads at the tail ends of sliders, some of the doubles are just like way later than the rhythm provided to you in the song. So getting a like 97.6 average on that on your 4 players is incredibly good. So big shots to them for that pick, and that will confirm their match point. .org to bring this to tiebreaker needs to win their next 2 in a row.
And they do pick into the DT2 to try and make that happen, which is a solid bit to go into. I mean, when you have a team that are going to be a bit more comfortable on maybe a small bit of mechanic side of things, DT2 is usually a very solid pick. But this map doesn't really hit you with too many major mechanics on the match. It gives you a few doubles to start with, then moves to triples. Then you get to the break section where you get your first, I think, stream of the map, and then back into a few more bursts at 240 BPM. So, you know, this map does get a bit more intense as the further it goes in. But again, I mean, I'm not too sure on the way this can go. This is something I'd give to Org a bit. I mean, they were strong on the free mod 3, but now it's just seeing if that is strong on the DT2.
My worry for this map is more that last map was a bit of a wash. You are picking another map from a very close by era. The last map was 2009 or 2008 ranked. I can't remember off the top of my head, but this is a 2011 map, and you're still looking at pretty dense double time with your 2 hidden players. We didn't see any hiddens come through on that free mod 3. I'm a little worried for whoever has to be tanking the hidden on that .org side for this map if they do not find that hidden comfort that they need. It is 240 BPM burst, but I'm just worried about the era of map and the comfort therein.
Yeah, I mean, not looking too comfortable on those old maps, but maybe they, you know, go from the 2008-2009 era to the 2011s, and maybe they're feeling a bit more confident on it, or maybe just, you know, having that DT on, even though it isn't still a crazy high approach rate, it's still maybe in a bit more of that realm of comfortability for them. Or even just the map itself being something that, you know, they're used to and they're willing to play. It could generally be any reason these players want to go into it, even after that last map, but the reason itself isn't something to be focused on. It's the scores they are going to provide for us, and it is time for the map to start. Orgs are back against a wall, picking into this DT2, and it is time to see how they respond to the pressure on them.
The hidden players going to be passing the torch a little bit. Endora hopping in to play on hidden double time for this one. Immediately a double break to come through for Bad Aim Boy and Endora. Again, about the hidden confidence of these players. It's both players on hidden on the side of .org to find the early breaks on Neither Die and Bad Aim Boy. VL Joy still holding on to that SS. Actually, 3 SSs on the side of Arthur ixfire. By comparison, is going to give them a pretty hefty advantage in our first moments. Cossin as well with the overaim, and I'm pretty surprised to see them swap Ico out of this map, given how strong they were on that Fremont 3. And immediately we're seeing over 1 million of score lead in what may be a disastrous mispick to run the final pick of this match.
Yeah, I mean, still having 3 full combos on the side of Artur compared to pretty much just the one on Shadio, which is not the most ideal situation to be in. You have Bad Aim Boy, who has a decently strong, not even decently, a very strong recovery at this point, but it is that cosine and Neither Die that need to catch up those scores, but no, they don't have the combo to match Endora's recovery, which is not a situation to be in, especially against that last third of the map, and Crime Mentality still holding on to the SS, sorry, and the other 2 players in the team supporting still very strong full combos, and another miscoming from Neither Die, breaking, their chance at recovery combos with 5 million score difference already.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed by the pick, unfortunately. It's just the recovery combo from Endora also putting in work. That second break from Neither Die going to be untapped potential. About a 1.1 million difference between Endora and the next closest player on his team is not going to be very much when you have a 5 million lead. There's the burst jump scare of doom. It is an Endora to break on it, but so does 2 players on .org, and that's going to be the nail in the coffin. Arthur ixfire winning in dominant fashion as the top seed of their group with the double FC on this DT2. Unfortunately, VL Joy to break at the very end is going to be a 5-2 score lead, and a match well won for Arthur ixfire as they continue on in the Group D.
Yeah, just phenomenal scores all around from them. I mean, they were bringing out score after score on a lot of their picks, and even, a lot of the counter picks as well from the other team. And, to end that match, you have Crime Mentality bringing in the SS and Dahuchka to bringing the 200s. 2 phenomenally strong scores on that map. So, maybe show off what they're capable of and maybe scare the rest of the group they have to be paired with.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of that group, we will be seeing our next match in just about 13 minutes time. It's going to be the Irishman 5, the number 2 seed of this group, versus the number 4 seed of the group, SKT-T1. That is the SPEV free agent last minute formation team. So I'm curious to see how the spicy underdogs will do against the Korean super team. But I have been Hubba Wubba, joined by Torva Zero. This has been Hippo Cup 9, and we'll be seeing you in 12 minutes for the next matchup.
See you then.